Buenos días, Español. This is Señor Irvin, and this is a video on giving directions and being able to follow directions. And the first part, we will introduce some vocab, some vocabulario that's part of your vocab list. I will go through all of them, okay? The second part of this video, I will go through actually the locations that are part of this mapa, so you become very familiar with this map and know exactly what's going on here. And then we'll do some practice. We'll do some practice scenarios of getting from one place to another, and then how do you do that in Espanol and make it sound right. I'll even type out the responses down here so you have an idea about what's going on here. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to this, the vocabulary as far as directions go. When we are giving directions, okay, the most basic directions have to do with turning to the right and turning to the left. A la derecha and a la izquierda. We can use the word de to be able to say like a location is located to the right of something. That's what the word de means. I'm going to erase it for right now, just because we don't need it in what purposes I'm going to be describing right now. Okay? So anyway, a la derecha, of course, means to the right. Okay? Like you're telling someone, turn to the right. And let's do a la izquierda, which means to the left. These two are usually combined with this word right here, dobla. For example, dobla a la derecha, dobla a la izquierda, which dobla, of course, means turn to the blah, 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 blah. Okay? So dobla a la derecha and dobla a la izquierda. So let's do an example here up here real quick. Let's say you were at El Correo, the post office, and you wanted to tell someone to turn to the left here. Okay, pretend that you're coming out of a door here of this, where the star is at. You are physically coming out of there. You're going to turn to the left here, though it seems like from the top view this would be the right, but it's really, if you're in there, you're turning to the left and heading towards Avenida Colón. How do you say turn to the left? You say dobla a la izquierda. If you were turning to the right, of course, but there's nothing over here, you would say dobla a la derecha. Okay? Now, another super useful word as far as on this list is this word down here, this phrase, todo recto, which means straight ahead. Todo recto, straight ahead, is then very useful, like if you're telling someone now straight ahead towards Colón Avenue. You would say turn to the left, dobla a la izquierda, todo recto, and then you say Avenida Colón. Now, you also probably would use this word, hasta, which means until. So you would say, todo recto hasta la Avenida Colón. And I got avenida because my avenidas are my up and down streets, my north and south streets. And my east and west, avenues are north and south. And east and west are streets. Okay? Let's keep going with some different words here. Like cruza means to cross, like cross a certain street. Okay? Cruza la avenida or cruza la calle. Very useful. Detrás, when you're talking about just a location, detrás means behind. So if we're just locating something that's behind something else, we would say detrás. If something is between something else, you would use the word entre. Between, entre. Avenida, of course, means avenue, and calle, of course, means street. If you're talking about the whole entire block, we call it la cuadra, and it's like a street block, okay? If you're at the end of your conversation, you're going to say, like, the building is on the right. You would say, el edificio está, is, a la derecha, to the right, or el edificio está a la izquierda, to the left. So the building is el edificio. Okay? And if you're telling someone to walk, you can use the words camina or anda, like walk straight ahead, or walk and then turn to the right. You can use anda or camina. Cool. These other words here are also useful if you were actually in a real city or town. They are the directions of norte, sur, este, and oeste. East and west. Okay? For our directions, giving and receiving directions, as far as in our little town, we're not going to use norte, sur, este, and oeste. just because I want you to really practice on basically giving directions like straight ahead, then turn to the right, until you get to a specific street, and then turn to the left. Okay, so we're using more of this kind of vocab on this left-hand side. Cool. So what about all these buildings and all these places that are within this little fake town? Let's make sure that you know what they are. And I'm just going to go through them muy rápido. They're also, all of them, I believe, are on your vocab list. Avenidas, of course, are avenues. And in this town, there's two avenidas. Avenida Colón and Avenida Constitución. Actually, there's two other little avenidas. There's Avenida Benito right here, and Avenida Verano is over here. See, between these two buildings. Then there's some calles: Calle Libertad, Reforma, Garcia, San Juan, Morelos, Libertad, Cabrera, 5 de Mayo, and Juárez are my calles. I think that's all of them. Okay. So, what are we doing with all of this? Well, inside of these, there's all these different buildings, okay? Right now, they're just represented by squares and rectangles. Let's go over here to tienda de música, which means music store. La escuela, of course, is school. Correo is a new vocab word for you guys, and it means post office. Panaderia is a bakery. Pan meaning the word for bread in Espanol. Banco, of course, is bank. Cine is a movie theater. Café is a cafe, outdoor restaurant. Plazas, you know what that is, see? Carniceria is from the word carne, which means meat, which is just a butcher shop. Centro comercial is the mall. Joyeria comes from the word joyas, which are jewels. Papeleria is a paper store, which we might call an office supply store. A mercado is any kind of market. Libreria looks like the word library, but it means bookstore. And parque is, of course, a park. The word for library is a biblioteca, see, in Espanol. Okay? So anyway, these are our buildings, so we can become familiar with them. So how do we use all of this stuff all in one kind of practice? Okay, so let's do a little quick practice. Let's go from one place to another and kind of show you what you're supposed to do. So let's start off, and let me label one of these places with a star. Let's start off with La Escuela, which is where we're at. You notice the little stars that are already on there? Those are basically where you are located. If you want to think of it as the door, okay, where you're coming out of that door, and then now you got to give someone the direction. Let's go just from La Escuela to the movie theater. That's a good little trip there. And then I highly recommend drawing. Let me see if I can get a little pen here. A red pen. Oh, let's see what color this comes out. Drawing your path that you're about to take, okay? And then pretend that you are coming out of this place, okay? And then giving these directions. In English, it would sound like this. You are at the school. Turn to the left on 5 de Mayo Street. Straight ahead until you reach Colón Avenue. Cross Colón Avenue. Turn to the right on Colón Avenue. Straight ahead on Colón Avenue until you get to San Juan Street. Turn to the left on San Juan Street. Straight ahead on San Juan until you get to Benito Avenue. Turn to the left at Benito Avenue. The building is on the left, and that's what it would sound like in English. Okay, that's pretty specific, detailed directions, and that's the way I want you to give them. So how do we say it in Espanol? First of all, you need to say, I'm at a certain place. Now you can use the word estoy, means I am at a certain place, I'm located somewhere. Or you can say if it was he or she is somewhere, you just use the word está. Okay? I'm going to use estoy. I'm going to say estoy en la escuela. I'm at the school. Okay? And then now I'm going to say I need to turn to the left on 5 de Mayo Avenue. Turn is dobla. To the left is la izquierda. And then straight ahead is todo recto. I'm going to say y todo recto, straight ahead. What's the name of the street I'm going on? It's called Calle 5 de Mayo. You notice that in Espanol we have to write the word street first and then the name of the street afterwards. Okay, now I go todo recto hasta, until I reach where? La Avenida Colón. Okay, I've reached Colón Avenue now. And then we can actually say cross Colón Avenue. Y cruza la Avenida Colón. Now I'm on the other side of the street. I was going to say I'm right here. Now I need to turn this way. If I'm coming out this way, it's going to be turn to the right, dobla a la derecha, y todo recto, straight ahead, hasta, until, what's the next place that we're going to see? Oh, San Juan Street. La calle San Juan. Now, what do we need to do at San Juan Street? It looks like I need to turn to the left. Dobla a la izquierda en la calle San Juan. Okay. Y, okay, straight ahead, todo recto, hasta where? Looks like la Avenida Benito. Avenida Benito. And it looks like I need to make one more turn. Okay. I need to turn to the left now. Dobla a la izquierda en la Avenida Benito. Okay. Now I'm here. I've just turned to the left. Okay. Now I got to say the building's on the left. El edificio, the building, está where? To the left. A la izquierda. Okay. Though it seemed like a little easy, simple direction, you could tell just by what I typed up there. It's quite a bit. Okay. This is exactly how I want you to describe things. Okay. But right now we're going to need some practice. I'm going to attach some directions worksheets. Okay. Some of it's just going to be saying, okay, what's to the left, to the right of something. Some of it's going to be following the directions, kind of drawing a little map like this. Some of it is going to be you explaining the directions, like kind of how it is down here. Okay. Bueno, adiós, hasta la vista. Muy importante. Bye bye.